Hello, Los Angeles Dodgers fans. We've got fresh, exclusive videos and the latest updates just for you. Before we dive in, make sure to join our channel and hit that like button. This is the best way to stay on top of all the breaking news. While the trade deadline creeps closer, the Los Angeles Dodgers find themselves once again caught in the whirlwind of speculation, this time linked to what could be a headline-grabbing move involving one of the most consistent arms in the American League. We're talking about Joe Ryan, a name that, if you're a Dodgers fan or just someone following this trade season closely, you're going to want to pay attention to. Ryan, the 29-year-old right-hander from the Minnesota Twins, has quietly built one of the most impressive resumes among starting pitchers this season, and it's earned him a well-deserved All-Star selection, the first of his career. With a sparkling win-loss record of 9-4 and a tidy to .70 to earned run average, he's been nothing short of reliable, efficient, and borderline dominant when he's on the mound. What's even more intriguing about this situation is the timing. The Twins just wrapped up a visit to Dodger Stadium, a perfect moment for the Dodgers front office to scout Ryan in their own backyard. But he didn't pitch, they missed him. Whether that was by design or just the randomness of the rotation, it's impossible to know. But what's clear is that Ryan's name has now emerged as one of the more interesting possibilities ahead of the deadline. In fact, he was included in the Athletics list of the top 50 players who could be on the move. And guess what? The Dodgers were mentioned as one of the potential landing spots. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This doesn't mean a deal is imminent or even likely, but it does mean the idea has legs, and in trade season, that's often all it takes. From the Dodgers' point of view, starting pitching hasn't exactly been their Achilles heel in 2025. They've got arms. In fact, there's even been chatter about them potentially shifting someone like Dustin May, whether it's as part of a trade or transitioning him into a bullpen role. But when a pitcher like Ryan becomes even theoretically available, it's the kind of opportunity that teams at the top of the standings have to at least explore. His numbers don't lie. Since debuting in 2021, Ryan has posted a career era of 3.67 and has established himself as one of the most efficient strike throwers in the game. We're talking about the 7th best strikeout-to-walk ratio in all of Major League Baseball over that span. That's not just good, that's elite territory. And here's where things get tricky. The Twins aren't exactly waving a white flag, but there's a sense that if the right offer comes along, they'd at least listen. Ryan's under team control for 2 more seasons beyond this one, which means he wouldn't be a rental. He'd be a long-term asset for any rotation looking to solidify its future, not just patch up the present. But therein lies the problem. Because of that control, and because of how effective Ryan has been, the asking price is going to be sky high. We're talking top-tier prospects, maybe even MLB-ready players, and the Dodgers, while loaded with talent in the farm system, will have to think long and hard before pulling the trigger on a deal that could strip depth from a pipeline they've spent years building. Still, you can't ignore the fit. Ryan throws strikes, misses bats, and limits damage. In the last 2 seasons, he ranks second in strikeout-to-walk ratio behind only Tarek Skubal. Opposing hitters are batting just over 100 against him. His ERA sits in the top 10 among qualified starters. These are the kind of metrics front offices drool over when evaluating potential trade targets, especially for postseason-bound teams where every pitch matters and margins are razor-thin. The Dodgers know that better than anyone. But here's the reality. Los Angeles has more pressing needs elsewhere. Specifically, their bullpen has been decimated by injuries and inconsistency. Michael Kopech, Tanner Scott, Brusdar Graterol, all hurt. Kirby Yates has struggled. Blake Trinan just got back, and while he's a high-leverage guy, he can't carry the late innings on his own. So while it's tempting to dream about adding another frontline starter, especially one as controllable and productive as Ryan, the smarter play might be reinforcing the relief corps, and that's where names like Griffin Jax and Joan Duran come into the picture. Both Jax and Duran have been floated in conversations involving the Dodgers and Twins, and for good reason. Jax brings versatility and swing-and-miss stuff. Duran has closer-caliber velocity and late-game experience. If the Dodgers are going to be dealing with Minnesota anyway, there's no harm in at least inquiring about Ryan, but the sense around the league is that the conversation might end there. The Twins aren't itching to deal him, and unless a team absolutely overwhelms them, Ryan will probably stay put. Now, let's shift gears and talk about one of the Dodgers' most important bullpen arms who's been out of action lately, Tanner Scott. Remember that scare back on July 21st? Scott had to exit a game against Minnesota with what was initially described as a left forearm issue. Given how serious those kinds of injuries can be, forearm tightness is often a precursor to elbow ligament damage. There was a real sense of concern that the Dodgers might be losing another crucial piece in a bullpen that's already taken more hits than it can afford. But here's the good news. The MRI came back clean. No structural damage, just inflammation in the elbow. That was a huge sigh of relief for Scott, the Dodgers, and everyone paying attention to their postseason ambitions. Scott himself admitted he was scared. And who could blame him? He said he had never experienced any arm issues in his entire career. So when he felt that sting on a pitch that barely cracked 86 miles per hour, alarm bells went off. He didn't know what to make of it at the time. It got progressively worse. And he came out of the game not knowing if this would be the start of a months-long rehab, or worse, a season-ending injury. But once the testing was done and the MRI results came in, it gave him clarity and, more importantly, a path back. Fast forward just over a week later and Scott has resumed throwing. It's the very first step, sure, but it's a vital one. Dave Roberts confirmed that Scott has started playing catch. And now the plan is simple. Monitor how he responds, gradually build up intensity, and keep moving forward, from short toss to longer distances, flat ground sessions, bullpens, and eventually live hitters. There's no firm timeline yet, but Roberts made it clear they're optimistic this won't be a long stint on the injured list. In fact, if things keep progressing the way they are, Scott could be back before the end of August, which would be a massive boost for a team trying to stabilize the back end of its bullpen during the stretch run. Scott's presence matters. He's a lefty with swing and miss stuff, and in the modern game, especially come playoff time, having a weapon like that out of the bullpen can change matchups and win games. So while fans were understandably holding their breath after that awkward, concerning exit, it now looks like the Dodgers dodged a bullet. And given how fragile the bullpen has been this year, every healthy arm is going to count, especially one like Scott's. Now, here's where things start to intersect. With Scott slowly working his way back, and with Kopech and Gratterol still on the shelf, the Dodgers are going to have to make some tough decisions as the trade deadline approaches. They can't assume everyone will return on schedule, and even if they do, depth is something you can never have enough of in October. That's why these conversations with Minnesota become even more relevant. Whether it's Jax, Duran, Batter, or yes, even Ryan, the Dodgers are doing their homework. They're evaluating every possible scenario. Because in a season that's already seen its fair share of injuries, setbacks, and surprises, staying aggressive and open-minded could be the difference between a deep postseason run and another frustrating early exit. And look, if you've been following the Dodgers the past few years, you know this front office doesn't sit still. They're not afraid to go big, but they're also not reckless. If a deal makes sense, both short-term and long-term, they'll strike. If not, they'll hold. Ryan would be a splash, no question, but he's not a necessity. That said, if they're already talking to the Twins about other players, don't be shocked if his name comes up. Don't be shocked if Andrew Friedman wants to know just how off-limits Ryan really is. And absolutely don't be shocked if the answer they get is very, but let's not pretend conversations like this don't happen every year. Behind closed doors, in quiet text messages and hushed phone calls, teams like the Dodgers are constantly probing the market, poking around to see who might actually be available, and what kind of price it would take to make something happen. It's not about desperation, it's about preparation, and that's where the Dodgers thrive. They prepare for everything, whether or not Joe Ryan ever comes to Los Angeles. You can bet that someone in the front office has already mapped out a dozen scenarios where it could make sense, and another dozen where it doesn't. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Is Tanner Scott regretting his move to the Dodgers? A brewing rumor in the ever-dynamic world of Major League Baseball. Player movements often ignite waves of speculation, and the latest whispers from Los Angeles are no exception. Tanner Scott, the talented left-handed reliever who recently inked a deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers, may be having second thoughts about his decision. While official statements have remained polite and optimistic, sources close to the player hint at growing regret, sparking a buzz that is rapidly gaining momentum among fans and insiders alike. Scott's signing with the Dodgers was initially seen as a strategic win for the team. known for his electric fastball and sharp slider. The 30-year-old reliever was expected to bolster the Dodgers' bullpen, a critical component as the franchise eyes another World Series title. The contract, which reportedly offered a comfortable financial package and the promise of playing for one of baseball's marquee franchises, seemed like a perfect match on paper. However, as the season unfolds, murmurs suggest the reality on the ground might be far more complex. The Los Angeles Dodgers have long been a team with high expectations and relentless pressure to perform. Their deep roster and competitive atmosphere can be a double-edged sword. For some players, the environment fuels greatness. For others, it can become overwhelming. Tanner Scott, who thrived previously in a different setup, may be finding it difficult to adjust. Sources indicate that Scott has expressed concerns about his role in the bullpen, his usage patterns, and even the cultural fit within the Dodgers clubhouse. Rumors are swirling that Scott feels he might have sacrificed stability for uncertainty. After all, the Dodgers bullpen is notoriously crowded, with a bevy of arms all vying for crucial innings. Scott's once promising role as a key late-inning arm may be slipping as competition intensifies. Moreover, insiders whisper about Scott's struggles to find rhythm amidst frequent pitching changes and the constant shuffle of roles. This environment, while designed to optimize performance, may have inadvertently unsettled the pitcher's confidence. Another layer to the story involves the Dodgers' management and coaching approach. Known for their analytical rigor and strict adherence to performance metrics, the front office's decision-making style might be clashing with Scott's preferred routines and comfort zones. This has reportedly led to a disconnect between the player and the coaching staff, with Scott feeling somewhat sidelined in strategic discussions. While the Dodgers pride themselves on a collaborative clubhouse, insiders suggest that Scott's integration hasn't been as smooth as initially hoped, adding fuel to the fire. Some fans have taken to social media speculating about Scott's apparent frustrations, citing recent interviews and his body language during games. Observers note a visible change in his demeanor, interpreting it as a sign of discontent. Though no direct quotes have confirmed these feelings, the accumulation of small signs has created a fertile ground for rumors of regret and second-guessing. Could this be a simple case of early season jitters, or is Tanner Scott genuinely contemplating a rethink of his Dodgers tenure? It's too soon to declare anything definitive, but the buzz certainly suggests the possibility of tensions brewing beneath the surface. Baseball, after all, is as much a mental game as it is physical, and for a player of Scott's caliber, feeling at ease is essential for peak performance. If these rumors hold any truth, the Dodgers front office may soon face some difficult questions. Will they make adjustments to accommodate Scott's preferences and restore his confidence? Or will this lead to a mid-season shakeup, with the possibility of trades or roster moves to address the uneasy dynamic? For now, the story remains speculative, but intriguing, a subplot unfolding quietly amid the bright lights of Dodger Stadium. As the season progresses, all eyes will be on Tanner Scott and how he navigates this challenging chapter. Will he find his groove and silence the critics? Or will the whisper of regret become a louder conversation? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the Dodgers bullpen drama is becoming one of the most compelling narratives of the year. Stay tuned, because the saga of Tanner Scott in Los Angeles is far from over. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.